Hello, I am Connor Nielsen
And I'm Spencer Nielsen.
of CS Reviews. I really love a good movie. Hey, Spence, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I think that we saw some movies. Feeling good. You?
Yeah, I'm doing wonderfully. Really busy week. This is actually like the first day off I've had in a while. So, we should probably say we're really sorry for this coming out pretty late. The next episode should probably come by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So sorry about this coming out late. Um, Last week I said I didn't think we would. I said that my theater wasn't going to be getting Inherent Vice, and I was wrong. We did get Inherent Vice. So we saw Taken 3, we saw Inherent Vice, and we saw Selma in the theaters. And we actually saw another movie. We rented it. What did we see, Spence?
We also saw the Babadook.
Yes. So let's just start off with that very briefly. I'll give us 5 minutes to talk about that total. So why don't you start off and tell us about the Babadook?
All right. Well, the Babadook. It's an Australian horror movie. It's Jennifer Kent's directorial debut, her first feature. It's a horror movie. It's about it hasn't been getting recognized, but it's been gaining a little bit of a following. It's about Essie Davis. She plays a mom who's single. Her husband died on the way to the hospital giving birth to their son, and then the son never knew his father and really wants a father figure, but so he's lashing out and really he's a really awful kid. This kid really gets on your nerves. But it's about this the mom and the son and how their relationship is very rocky, and they're both grieving, and they find this picture book one night when she's going to read him a story called Mr. Babadook, and some really creepy stuff happens from then on, and a lot of implications about the mother's relationship to the son is brought to light.
Yeah, I should probably say first thing that kid actor. Wow, great! He's a great actor. If that kid doesn't get work in a Tim Burton movie, I'm going to be shocked. And I can't wait to see. Like, we don't very have. I mean, in the '90s and early 2000s, there was a Haley Joel Osment who was like the best kid actor ever. And then for a while there, we had Chloe Grace Moretz, but she's kind of grown up now, so we don't really have a good kid actor, like a go-to kid actor. Whoever this kid is, yeah, good job. I also think Essie Davis is incredible. I don't think like Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl level of great, but still like one of the better female lead performances of last year.
Yes, very much so. Now, the thing about the Babadook, what I really liked about it is it's old school horror, or sorry, this is an actual kind of horror movie. It's not gimmicky at all. It tells a story first and foremost, has emotion, has characters, and then it's scary. And it's not scary on the surface. It's scary when you think about it. Not to say it's not entertaining and scary when you're watching it, because there's a sequence about halfway through it that I personally think is one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in any horror movie.
Yeah, so one thing that I really like in this movie is I really like how this movie is very like because it was actually written by Jennifer Kent as well as directed by, and her writing skills are so good. She understands horror not just directorially but also she understands writing and thematically what the Babadook represents and in the relationship. It's a little like obvious, but the thematic elements are very consistent and they carry through very nicely. And even towards the end when I didn't think it was scaring me very much, like what kept me engaged at all times was the thematic hooks of this movie and what like and the themes of grief and depression it brought up. Yeah, I really like the Babadook, and it scared me. Like I never like closed my eyes and was like but like I was watching it and it didn't go do any cheap, stupid, fake jump scares like Woman in Black style. But yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we saw a Woman in Black 2, and then about a week or less than a week later we saw this, and it's just complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
right. And I swear, like that little kid screaming, "Mommy!" Oh my goodness! Every time he said that, I wanted to smack him. Look at me, mommy! Look at me!
But yeah, highly recommend the Babadook. If you have not seen it, check it out. You can rent it for $7 on iTunes or on demand.
All right. Yeah, we got a minute and a half to spare. I think that's all we really have to say about it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's been out for a while, so check it out.
It's wonderful too. It looks kind of like a storybook. Heavy blacks and whites and the gray scales used wonderfully.
Yeah, set design was incredible here. Uh, yeah, the use of shadows. I love the way. I cannot wait to see what Jennifer Kent does next.
Me
Uh,
neither.
so, guess that's it, right? I say watch it.
So do I.
Really like the ending. Okay, so let's move on to the big movie that came out this last week, which was Taken 3. Uh, Spencer, you talk about this because I don't want to.
Why? Why me? That's very selfish of you. Um, there's a lot of, especially this year, more so than last year, there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of limited release Oscar movies that were released last year that are being wide released in January. Like a lot of them. We got American Sniper, we got Selma, just to name a couple. But the market's kind of, Foxcatcher is now, where we live is like Cinemark release. So the movie market is very full right now, and I was actually slightly disappointed. I was like, man, what about crappy January movies?
We
No,
watched Inherent Vice, which was one of the December movies.
right, Inherent Vice. Thank you. You'll be talking about that momentarily. Uh, yeah, oh my gosh, this movie was really bad. It is. Yes, everyone.
Yeah. So, well, you okay?
Yeah, yeah. This movie, if it's the second sequel to Taken, which was a movie. That was a January movie, wasn't it?
You know, January 30, I think.
All right, but yeah, it was released how long ago? That was 2008, 2007.
I'll say 2009. Let me check really fast. Just talk about the synopsis of this movie really fast.
Okay, so yeah, the thing about this movie, it's if you haven't heard of it, it's very much like everyone's drawing comparisons to The Fugitive. But this is that's actually a good movie. But the thing is, this there's Liam Neeson, who plays Brian, reprising his role as Brian Mills, and Famke Jensen, his ex-wife, she's still kind of interested in him, and they're meeting up, and they kind of still have a thing for one another, and then she wants to meet up with him one day, and so they
Don't
meet
get
back.
bogged down in the details. Just hit the beats.
Right. They go back to his place, and she's dead, and he's framed for murdering his ex-wife, and so now he's on the run, and they're chasing after him, trying to catch him while he's trying to prove his innocence.
Oh, and Forrest Whitaker's in this movie.
Oh yeah, he is. I forgot.
Oh, and it came out in 2008.
Aha, I was right.
I would have guessed 2009, but 2008.
But yes, so Taken 3. What do you have to say about it? How do you feel?
So I think first off, right off the bat, we're gonna do 5 minutes of no spoilers. So I'm just gonna do that, okay?
All right.
So just a couple of thoughts I got is that hold on. Okay, 5 minutes are on the clock. So Olivier Megaton, that's the director's actual name. Olivier Megaton seems like one of those directors who refuses to leave any shots on the editing room floor.
No shots will be left out.
Yeah, I can't this. Stop cutting. Stop cutting. There's one the first action scene in this is it's the gold I can't imagine for the next 11 and a half months an action scene being worse than the first action scene of this movie.
Okay, yeah, you talked about takes, about there being so many about all these different shots, how they use every single one of them. That just makes me ask, while I was watching this, how many actual takes did they do from different angles?
Yeah.
There's a part where he's hopping fences, and to hop one fence, it's I'm not joking, 7 to 12 cuts. And then I think, okay, how many times did Liam Neeson have to clear a fence? And then how many from each shot?
Right, and it's all like close-up shots. They're not wide or medium shots. Like, okay, they're like medium shots, like medium close-ish shots. So they're pretty close, and they're like it's handheld stuff. So it's like it's kind of like fidgety, and then him climbing a fence, and it's like what? Okay, well, we're here. Oh, okay. Oh, now the scene's over. I guess that was an action scene. Why is he driving this car now? Like there's a part where they go, oh, he's holding. That's the gun he took off of an officer. He took a gun off an officer. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, and with that was oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, and then after he does like the fence thing, you're like, oh my gosh, just to jump over a fence, he did all that much, and then it's almost like the director says, and that's just clearing a fence. I mean,
And
it's ridiculous.
there's like I remember there's like a part where he's like running in that first action scene, and there's like a dog barking at him, and it was like a detail shot of a dog looking over. It's like a quarter of a second, but I just like that. Oh my gosh, it's like a like they could have put a subliminal message in there somewhere. Like and like people just talking, hello there, my name is Liam Neeson. Hello there, wife. No, hello there, ex-wife. And it could just be me going, here, have a cup of coffee, and it would be, hello, cut there. Here's a cup of coffee. I mean, it was just like that. I don't get it. Olivia Megaton, you cannot direct.
Oh,
Um,
it's
the
ridiculous.
action sucks. The action sucks.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's absolutely abysmal. Uh, okay, wait, then so we cannot stress enough how awful the shot composition itself is, let alone like how much bad there is. It's almost like every how there's that epic rap battle history where Stanley Kubrick and he says out every single one of his shots is like a painting. This is like the opposite. Every single shot is just either generic or bad, and there's so much of them because at least the good thing is you can't see any one of them for too long because it'll cut to the next one. But at the same time, this gave you a headache, right? Just looking at it.
I was going to say, like, I turned to you like a quarter, like half an hour into this movie, and I'm going to get a headache during this movie. Like, it was hurting my head. Like, my eyeball, like, I wanted to scratch my eyeballs out. And I've never really said that before. Like, I couldn't watch this movie. That's how bad it is. We should also, like, we got like a minute left of, like, no spoilers. The dialogue is horrible.
Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so in the first about like 15, 20 minutes of this movie, it's like the dialogue is bad, but it's cheesy, so bad it's good dialogue where people have a conversation and really awkwardly reference to something like there's a part where he has a bear and he's always like, "Oh yes, me and a bear we're going to be having dinner. Would you like to join us?" Who? Well, me and the bear. All right. Well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Oh, I guess I'll have to leave you guys alone. We? Yes, you and the bear. Wink, wink.
Yeah, we're at half a minute. Yeah, so the dialogue sucks. Liam Neeson looks like he doesn't want to be there. Forrest Whitaker is just in this movie. Like when I watched the trailer for this movie, I thought, oh, it's remember that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called The Last Stand that had Johnny Knoxville and Forrest Whitaker? Like it's the same character. Him just on the phone going, all right, we need to go there. We need to go there. Come on, let's go. Hold on, he's coming here. Come on, stop him. Oh, he got away. Oh no, not this guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows like it's just him doing that the whole time. He doesn't want to be there, and okay. So, and Maggie Grace sucks in this movie, and the action sucks, and it refused to end. That's all I have to say about it for non-spoilers.
Yes, the second this movie was over, I bolted out the door.
Yeah, and you haven't done that since I Frankenstein.
No,
But
okay. Well, the
you,
difference was,
you ran faster out of I Frankenstein, though.
yeah, I ran faster out of my Frankenstein, but also uh, this continuing in the tradition of that awkward moment. This was about as long as that movie was last year, right?
Hold on, let me check.
Okay, but yeah, this movie was only an hour and 45 minutes, which is standard length. Uh, and then there's that awkward moment, which is about the same length. But these two movies, they're not very long. But you're sitting there just going, hurry up! Like halfway through the movie, I check my phone, I'm like, there's an hour left. Ugh.
It is an hour and 52 minutes long. I
Really,
can't believe that. I cannot believe that. It felt like two and a half.
that's ridiculous. Yeah, this so just wrapping this up with the non-spoilers. Terrible, boring. You can't watch it. Like we mean that literally. It is hard to physically watch it. Uh, and terrible direction, very hammy acting at best, and it's
Okay, and that awkward moment was about an hour and a half. It was 20 minutes shorter than this one.
really
Yeah. Okay, so going into spoilers, we'll put 10 minutes on the clock talking about spoilers. And yeah, why don't you start us off with spoilers on stuff you did and didn't like?
okay. What I did like is very scarce. I would say that at very few times it's laughable. Like you can enjoy kind of it at a on an ironic level. Oh, there's a part where well, there's the love child of you lean over and say, "Hey guys, look, it's because they finally have found the love child of Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke." And there's a part where he
Oh yeah, that FBI guy, right?
yeah, yeah. There's an FBI guy that looks like a mix between Ethan Hawke and and Kevin Bacon, and so there's a part where he's at a school and where he's at the college where where Liam Neeson's daughter is, and then he like because she was meeting with her father and there for a touching moment, but it was really not touching at all. You're like, oh, I can almost feel emotion. And then he leaves, and then he busts down the door, and she's going to the bathroom. He's like, eh, like that stuff like that. You can like laugh, thinking that was supposed to make me laugh. That was supposed to be comic relief, and it's just super creepy. Uh, Also, seeing stuff like Forrest Whitaker run with like behind him down a school, he's like, oh yeah, thinking about Forrest Whitaker, I think his entire character is almost so bad it's good because he plays with like a knight in chess, the horse piece. He's always fidgeting around with that, and then he has a rubber band where he goes like he's always like messes around with it in his hand, and it's really ridiculous. And then at the end of the movie, even everyone has such a character arc, even that rubber band, because at the end he puts that rubber band around the case folder to let you know the case is closed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. The thing about Forrest Whitaker in this movie, and he says yeah, he fidgets around with this the whole time. Like I remember, like I think I leaned over to you at one point. I went, "Oh, remember when Forrest Whitaker was in this movie?"
Yeah, I went, oh yeah, he's in here. Oh,
And then,
I just got it, Connor. He's the White Knight of the movie.
oh my goodness, really? You caught that?
Oh,
This is
symbolism!
15 minutes where like it's just Maggie Grace carrying this movie, and her character sucks, and she's not the best actress in the world. So, you know what I mean? But it was that part was so boring, and there was like, oh my goodness, this, and she's the stupidest character in the world because it, he calls the Liam Neeson calls her and says, "Hello there. You need to stick to your schedule, and then you will hear from me. Stick to your very predictable schedule," because that's an ongoing joke about how predictable her schedule is. Whoa, cool. That's dialogue, man. That's a motif. So then what happens is she goes to her thing and then buys a because one part of her schedule is just to get a drink, and then she gets the drink and it says "Drink me now," which was hilarious because I mean, what? So Liam Neeson put that thing on there, put it four from the back, and just assumed that no one else was there to get like another part of the drink, so it would be three from the back, and then his whole plan would have screwed up then. But whatever, he has a certain set of skills. He knows that. So then what happens
What's the point of
is
even having the note on there, though?
yeah, and so then what happens is she drinks it so that he can poison his daughter, and then what happens is Forrest Whitaker is like, hold on, let's go check. Wait, hold on, she got a drink. I'm gonna go check the garbage that she threw it away, and then he like runs out. How he knows what garbage she threw it in, I don't know. He checks the garbage, and then she sees it, and then the Maggie Grace is so stupid that she doesn't even check, like she doesn't even throw the note away in a different thing. She just leaves the note on there. He goes, okay, hold on, he's up to something, and then get her, come on, get over here, just like he did in The Last Stand, and the way everything's filmed is exactly like the Forrest Whitaker scenes were filmed in The Last Stand. So I feel like he stumbled out of that movie into this one. So
We just use like B-roll footage.
yeah. Did Liam Neeson and Forrest Whitaker ever appear on screen together?
Like I think like a couple times. Yeah, and that one scene at the end where where
Oh, yeah.
or like kind of in the climax, you see them in a couple frames, but other than that, it's completely impossible to tell. But Connor, do you think that there's like a cinematic universe with The Last Stand and Taken now?
You know what? I don't care. So, let's see. I got car chase fatigue in this because Olivier Megaton, he really likes his car chases. Um, he like so it starts off and there's this stupid headache-inducing why won't it end car chase that it goes on, and it's just the cut, oh, cut, oh, now driving, we gotta get, and it goes on for like forever, and then it ends like, okay, thank goodness, I can breathe, my eyes can stop hurting, and then Maggie Grace gets in the car, or whoever, someone else gets in the car, and then they start driving, and then I'm like, no, stop, don't, no, stop, why won't this, oh my lord. So it just wouldn't stop. Just stop. Stop. I don't want to. Then like it oh, stop. Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of car chases. There's a lot of car chases in this movie.
what was that? Yeah, a lot of car chases.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of the action, so you just vented with all the car chase that you can possibly like muster. Yeah. Something else that I want to talk about is the shootouts in this movie are just, oh my gosh. There's a part where they're in a convenience store and or in a general store like that's like on a back road stretch turnpike thing, and he just fights these four Russians. There's just one guy where it's weird because his character in this movie it really makes me wonder. He is so skilled. He's like the god of skills, super spy skills, except for if a bad guy needs to look tough for 2 seconds. And it's absolutely annoying. And I know that that shouldn't really bug me, but there's a part in this thing where there's this guy that has like a through like some like footage. This like, person he's in a car. His inconspicuous thing pulls up and to snatch his wife, and then sitting in the passenger seat, this person happened to have his window rolled down, and like his hand comes out, and you see he has like a tattoo on his hand. So that's how he identifies this guy. And so he finds him in this general convenience store, and he takes out all the other guys except for this one last guy who just won't die for 2 seconds, even though we all know he's going to die. And it's so annoying. Why is this person so loyal to like commit suicide? Because he takes Liam Neeson's gun and goes, because Liam Neeson won't kill him. And then, like, okay, why is he loyal? Oh, why do I care? Who cares? And then at the end, there's Andy Samberg. There's Russian Andy Samberg with like tattoo. It's not him, but it's like an SNL skit because he's in his underwear and a robe going, ah!
Say hello to my little friend. How? Well, say hello to my little friend. I mean, he's like so over the top. It was like that guy from The Equalizer, just with less tattoos, and he's in tighty whities, and he's got this bulge hanging out while he's just shooting his machine gun. And then, of course,
Little friend, am I right?
oh, so
So, sorry, that was pretty good though.
yeah, yeah. So I
Let's
also
give
should.
props. Sorry, go on.
Okay, so two more things I want to clear up. The use of flashback is comical in this movie.
Oh my god.
How did you escape? And then all of a sudden, a worse directed than usual thing where it's like a flashback. And that was how I escaped. I didn't see that. What happened? I don't know what happened. Slow down. I couldn't imagine this thing in 48 frames a second.
Oh, don't give Peter Jackson ideas.
No, not Peter Jackson. If
Well,
they like just like
no, sorry.
so the use of flashback and then like towards the end you go, well, here's how I knew this, and then flashback. I'm like, and it's like sepia tone, and it looks like Michael Bay directed it, and I whatever. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, we're getting pretty close to the end here, is the callback. Oh, right, this is a Taken movie. You're gonna get out of prison, and I will find you. And we all know what's gonna happen after that. Oh my goodness, who wrote this?
Okay, well, didn't it say that at the end it was written by the people who wrote the first one? It said written by so and so and so and so, based off the characters by so and so and so and so.
Yeah,
I don't know. I got out of that theater as fast as I could, so I could be mistaken.
oh yeah. Anything else? We got like 10 seconds.
Okay, the villain like at the end is like turns out that the Russian that was the bad guy. It turns out that he's been played by, it's like who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? It's
Stewart.
it's Stewart. Cool. Why is he like just? He had like 10 chances at least, 10 chances to screw over Liam Neeson, but he doesn't because it's not time for me to it's not time for me to be a bad guy yet.
It's Act One.
Oh yeah. Oh. Towards the end, there's a part where Liam Neeson and Forrest Whitaker are having they're talking on the phones. No. It's actually at whenever people are talking on the phones and there's one at the beginning with Famke Jensen and Liam Neeson, and it's so bad because it feels so disjointed. They are not talking to each other on the phone, and it feels like they're just talking to people right off. Or is that my line? What's the other person's line?
I don't know, Spencer. What is the other person's line?
I don't know. You tell me.
So, one more thing. There's one thing that shouldn't have bugged me, but did.
What's that?
It just kind of adds to the direction and the editing that really bugged me. It's just a part where a guy is going off to a car and he picks up a donut, right? Why don't you just have one shot where they're walking out and he just kind of inconspicuously grabs the donut because him grabbing a donut isn't important. Then what happens is, of course, because we have to have every single shot that was recorded inside of this movie, it just shows like a detail shot of him grabbing a donut really fast.
I know it's what does this guy have against wide shots or shots at least 10 seconds?
I don't know. So
okay, one last thing.
we're out of time.
Okay. Oh, it's just that I lost it.
Really fast.
I lost it.
Okay. All right. So the next movie I want to talk about really fast is I'm going to be talking about Inherent Vice. Oh wait, no, we got to do scores for Taken 3.
Right.
What is your score for Taken 3?
Halfway through, I was like, yeah, this is like a 4 maybe, because I never think about scores when I watch a movie, but I was so bored. But I'm like, I'm gonna give this a 4. It's dumb but harmless. And then 3, I'm like, okay, this is really, really dumb. I can't. It's hard to watch. It's insultingly poorly made. And then it refused to end, and I said, okay, that's the final nail in the coffin. You get a 2 out of 10.
Okay, so when this ended, I was like, that's a 3 out of 10. It was dumb. It had some comically bad moments, but the more I think about it, the more angry it makes me. So, and it sucked. Like, this was really bad. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so Inherent Vice. If you don't know anything about this movie, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis. It is about Doc Sporello, played by Joaquin Phoenix, in 1970 California, and he's a stoner hippie private detective, and he's got multiple case goings on, all of them stemming from his ex-girlfriend who comes to visit him about one case that she has, and that's kind of the trailer of the movie. And that one trailer, though, like all the information that you get in that trailer is the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then there's so much going on, so many different characters, and a lot of glorified cameos, and it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie based off of the novel by Thomas Pynchot called Inherent Vice. So, yeah. So this movie has kind of been getting a very mixed reception. I know a lot of people really don't like this, and there are a lot of people, oh, you just don't get it, man. So what do I think of it? It's okay. So just really quick, I'm just gonna put 7, like, not even. I'll put 5 minutes on the clock really fast. Starting now. So right off the bat, good things about it. It's filmed gorgeously. The cinematography is excellent. Paul Thomas Anderson knows how to direct actors, and so naturally the performances in this movie are great. Joaquin Phoenix is, I don't even need to tell you, he's excellent as Doc Sporello. Then Josh Brolin, he's so much fun in this movie as Bigfoot, who was a who was like a police officer, who also might be a bit of an actor, who does a little bit of acting. Anyway, he was really funny. Owen Wilson's in this movie. He's kind of fun. There's Martin Short in this movie, who's really funny. Um, and one second. So yeah, the performance is really good. There's actually some really funny dialogue in here that I thought was really funny, particularly towards the beginning. And yeah, the direction's really good. The good dialogue. It has good acting and a lot of really good actors, and it's very, very, very well made. But that's really like I really do appreciate this. I think it's a very ambitious narrative that they're going for, but this has a lot of problems that and people are just saying, oh man, well you know what, Paul Thomas Anderson, like this is gonna be one of those movies. He's like a modern day Kubrick where you just don't get it until decades, and well everybody's a modern day Kubrick. Everyone's saying that about Christopher Nolan when Interstellar came out. It got generally good reviews, but everyone wanted to say got bad reviews, but they just don't get it yet. Well, you know what? Whatever, whenever like a Wes Anderson movie will come out that people just don't really care for, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, in the next 10 years it's going to be a classic. They just don't get it, man. And that's what people are saying about this, and I'm sorry, but it's way too long. The novelty wears off after the first hour. I wasn't bored while I was watching it, but like thinking back, it was a little way too long. And again, it's based off of a novel, but you should have just made it about his ex girlfriend and the trouble she's going with. Make it about that. Streamline it, because when there's so much going on with a novel, it's a different medium. There's different tactics of storytelling. In this one, I could see it as a book, and I would probably read the book. It's probably a good book, but it's what this movie's really about. Is it's about a time in history. It's kind of supposed to capture this Los Angeles in 1970, the end of the hippies, kind of the end of all the drugs and booze and everything. It's a post Woodstock era, and it's California. And I thought this movie really kind of went out of its way to be as convoluted as possible, and it's really like it's gonna be, you have to really focus on this to make sure you remember. Oh, someone they'll just mention is dead. Oh, remember him? Well, you just met him 40 minutes ago and they didn't really drop his name. Stuff like that, and then everyone has to get the thing to the thing, and then one person knows there's one person who has a thing, and then they go to here to do the thing, and then so. At the time, I was like, okay, so this movie's not really about the story. Okay, so it's about the characters, right? Well, nothing felt emotionally important for the characters. And that's something that kind of bugged me, because Joaquin Phoenix's character, he's kind of supposed to be like the dude if he was a 1970s private detective. And
If he was employed at all.
yeah, exactly. If the dude decided he wanted to get a job and grow some really mean sideburns, and, if he was a hippie. So nothing really felt important to him, especially like meeting his ex-girlfriend, whom he may or may not still have feelings for. And his ex-girlfriend is a really poor actress. She has several scenes that are supposed to be emotionally engaging, but they were really dull because she wasn't a very good actress. And there are like a couple moments, like very scarcely are there moments where the movie actually slows down to really have a character moment, and they're handled very effectively, and I really like them. But it's 2 hours and 30 minutes long. It is a very long movie, and you know what I always say, like, you can do a lot in 2.5 hours. They do a lot, but I don't think they do enough character stuff. It's kind of all about just like, oh, look how quirky we are. It's 1970s. Oh, and we're going here, we're going here, and we're going here. And a lot of people say, like, they said it about American Hustle, how it felt self-indulgent, and it was an ego trip by the director. I don't think that. I think it was just Paul Thomas Anderson taking on a very ambitious narrative, and I really applaud him for being this ambitious, but yeah, nothing felt very emotionally engaging. So and no one has a story arc. Again, going back to like, oh, I guess I'm done. That was 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
I thought you said 5.
oh, did I set it to 5?
I could have
Oh,
sworn you said it to 5.
okay, I guess I said that was 5 minutes. So yeah, wrapping up, it gets very repetitive too. It's like, okay, we got another scene where Doc meets a girl in provocative clothing, and he's like, oh, she's pretty. And there's another scene where they're doing drugs, and another scene where they meet a new character, uh, and another scene where a new subplot enters, and another scene. You're like, okay, can we just kind of streamline this? The novelty really does wear off, and and this movie, I really should have liked this movie because, like, okay, so it sounded all quirky and weird and kind of like out there and totally like silly and stuff. Like, I love, like, if you read comic books, like Grant Morrison's my favorite author. I love that weird kind of out there, crazy ideas playing with a lot of stuff that all kind of comes together in the end. But in this movie, like, it didn't really like other than capturing a moment in time where every single character kind of represents a different like um, social circle of that era. I think it really like the characters didn't really go through anything that was important, and the plot was just kind of supposed to like. I guess it wasn't even really about the plot because if it was, it would have been a little bit more like focused. So this movie really just kind of confused me. I'd like to see it again. Maybe I'll get something else out of it. But I do like. There's a lot of stuff about this movie I do appreciate. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of a 10. So yeah, that's Inherent Vice. I'm really mad that it got a Oscar nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. It had really good dialogue, but I felt it should have been more streamlined. Capture the feel of the book, but not actually adapt all of the book.
I see. You
Uh,
wanted it to be a little bit more like organized.
yeah, make it The Shining. The Shining book isn't very good. I reviewed it and I liked it, but thinking the movie is so much better than like the Shining movie is a better story than the book, but it still managed to keep a lot of that same atmosphere. So I think that's a very good adaptation. So yeah, that's Inherent Vice. Let's move on to Selma. So Spencer, why don't you talk about Selma?
All right, Selma is actually it's a biopic for Martin Luther King Jr. This takes place after his March on Washington, where he did his "I Have a Dream" speech, and it actually starts off where he's getting his Nobel Peace Prize, and this is sort of where he wants to where there's a lot of the racism in the South is boiling over what he's doing, and it's sort of a climax of that where he needs the nation behind him, and the nation just isn't there yet. So he needs to set a strong example with Selma is it's Alabama, I believe.
Yeah,
Selma.
I think it is Alabama.
Okay, so and so he's there's a lot of trouble going down there. So he's going down there to try to resolve conflict down there, but also set up a movement at the same time trying to get the government on his side. So and that's essentially what it's about, and it really goes into how he felt or the kind of the doubt he had at that time, and how he was able to overcome a lot of the prejudice that he had with his with himself in a way.
And
So
also, it really goes into like the political game that everyone was playing at that
yeah, it was
time.
like the political chess game, and I think it's one of the I did not see 12 Years a Slave, neither of us did, but because I cannot say that I have not seen a movie recently like unlike this movie that was as powerfully in a racial context in a while.
Yeah. So, oh, this is Happy. Hey, Happy. Say hi to Happy, the most chill dog in the world. So, um, yeah. What did you think of the movie, Spence? I'm gonna put non-spoilers. I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock. So
All right.
here we go.
All right, so Selma, how I felt about it. First and foremost, the acting is incredible. I think David Oyelowo he becomes Martin Luther King Jr. You just see Martin Luther King Jr. on the screen. You don't just see some guy. And I know that this sounds cliche, but he really embodies
It
the
doesn't really look like Martin Luther King Jr., but he just becomes the character, so you buy it.
yeah. Well, he looks enough like him, I believe.
Yeah.
But I just everything, and also the direction of this movie is absolutely strong. The the production, it looks like the time, it looks like the 60s. It doesn't look like today dressed like the 60s. The people, like everything from what they wear to how people look, it looks like it takes place back then. uh, there are some beautifully very powerful shots. So the acting and production is top notch. I personally have a couple issues with the script. I think that it definitely goes into it wants to show a lot of different points, how a bunch of different people, even though they might not seem important, they are important to his cause, and how just how little not how little, but how regular people standing up for what they believe in, how it affects everything. And I feel that while a lot of that, while it was a, I think it was a very creative, it was a sorry, it was a creative directorial decision. However, for me, I feel it was a little disorganized at times and didn't pay off as well as it could have. I also think that, at the time, people in the South, the whites and blacks, did not get along at all. However, I think it could have been a very interesting thing if we saw maybe a white female who lived, with a white, who was married to a white male, and was in a house where hatred against African Americans was promoted, but she felt uncomfortable about that. I think a subplot similar to that could have actually had like another voice in it. I don't think it should have been about that. And it still should have promoted to show the hatred and the animosity that people felt against one another down there. But I think just a different take could have been welcome, in my opinion.
All right, so you just thought like all of the white Southerners were all portrayed as savages?
Yeah, it was very much so. Which I think it's it's giving back borrowed time with how much African Americans were antagonized. So it's not a huge gripe at all. I'm not against this movie showing how evil, not evil, but just how evil the prejudice that the people had was. I just think that a different take. So they're not everyone, because I believe I'm pretty sure I wasn't alive back then, but I'm pretty sure there were people back then who did not agree with what was being with like the Jim Crow laws that were in effect.
All right, so we got like a minute and a half left for non-spoilers. I'm just going to say right up front, I love this movie. I thought this is one of the most powerful movies I've seen in a very, very long time. Like, Ava DuVernay, oh my goodness. I cannot wait to see what this woman does next. She uses this, like, she knows how to use the screen for power. There are some, like, scenes where it's a very shallow focus of, one person, like, standing kind of not really occupying a lot of the frame, and everything else is out of focus, and it's just people, and, she has a lot of, like, empty space, just really just kind of people, like, in a corner, or, like, person over here, one person over here, so, but you're not really focused much about stuff in the middle. But at the same time, like, when she does use the entire canvas, it hits you right where it counts, and you go, wow. And the power of this movie, I thought, was so good. Ava DuVernay, I'm really upset she didn't get a nomination for Best Director, because this is one of the 5 best directed movies of 2014. Yeah, wow. Good job, Ava. I thought, as you said, David Oyelowo was like pitch perfect. He was excellent in this movie. And then I don't know who played Coretta King. I don't exactly remember. Okay, but she, like, at first I was like, I don't know about this, but then she has one scene that really made me go, oh my goodness. She is like, there's like one scene that it's her scene, and she sells it. The performances are great. Tom Wilkinson, so good in this movie as LBJ. And you can kind of tell, like, Mr. President of the United States he's a little uncomfortable talking with a black man of power. And even though, he's, like, promoting equality, he still has a bit of, like, uneasiness. Wrapping up, Tim Roth.
Connor, her name is Carmen Ejogo. I don't know if that's Ejogo. It's a J.
Okay. But yeah, Tim Roth. Oh my goodness, I couldn't,
He was disgusting.
Balls, dude. I could not think of, like, I would, man, he sells the role. He is the most disgusting, slimy, blacks, like he has a line where it's like, well, why do you just give the blankers what they want? His response is, well, you never can stop them. First thing, I'm like, oh my goodness, you are disgusting. Wow, but like Tim Roth sells it. Man, oh my goodness. So I've missed Tim Roth for so long. I mean, where has he really been? I mean, he was on that show Lie to Me, but like he was in Reservoir Dogs. I love Tim Roth. Um,
He was in The Incredible Hulk.
yeah, I sort of remember that movie. Yeah, so I love this movie. I thought it was one of the best movies of last year. If I had seen it in 2014, it would have probably been in my top 10. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. What are you about, you, Spence?
Personally, the sheer craft is undeniable. I just think watching it, it feels a little. There's a thing where they where J. Edgar has the FBI tracking him, logging his place is bugged, and so the text will come up in typewriting. Like at the beginning, it's a lot. It's very distracting. Then in the middle, it gets kind of inconsistent. I just feel that was very disorganized. It was a good idea on paper, but I don't think it paid off well when translated to screen. I just think, but other than that, I think the craft is wonderful. The performances are great. I just think that it's a little disorganized in the narrative, even though what it wants to say is very, very important. I would give it, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, so let's get into spoilers. Um, so this is going to be the last movie we'll be talking about today. I'll put 10 minutes on the clock starting now. I'll kick off spoiler section. Wait, you kick off spoiler section for a second.
Oh well, actually, personally, for me, like, I don't, there's not a lot of things to spoil about this because I would just recommend people to go see it to make it up for themselves. But people who have seen it, we kind of can already agree. So personally, I don't have really any spoilers to discuss. I think what's good about it is left on the table.
Okay. What you said about the FBI kind of text that comes up, I love that because I remember like one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life is called Pain and Gain, directed by Michael Bay. I hate that movie. Go watch Mark Kermode's review of that movie. That is like exactly how I feel about it. In that movie, like the movie will stop and it says this is still a true story. And in that sense, it just kind of felt like a loud moron at a party, like telling a tall tale and just going, "Oh, this actually happened, guys." Um, it did actually happen, but the way it was presented was felt like someone telling a fish tale. And so with this one, when the text came up, it was like kind of like when you're like just like someone's telling you a story and he's like, no, like this actually happened, and then you go, wow, because the way Ava DuVernay does this is that she knows how to dress this up and make it dramatically a very dramatic narrative, and it doesn't feel like now this is happening. Now this is Ava DuVernay. Now we're going to watch Martin Luther King Jr. walk to Selma. Now we're going to watch them walk. Now we're at the bridge, and now you know what I mean. It's not. It doesn't feel like now this is happening. Now this happened. No, like it builds on each other like a narrative, and I love the way this movie's written. I love the way everything builds. It feels like a dramatic story, like an actual like a non-fiction story. But the text just keeps reminding, no, this really happened. And I think that balance of that non-fiction, like this really happened stuff, and the stuff of the dramatic like narrative of it worked so well. It was inspirational. The movie hit me. It made me angry in all the right ways. And I mean, with a lot of the racial climate of this movie, I think it's really good for America to really remember Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideals and his vision. And this movie really affected me in a good way. And I mean, there's like some language, but I don't care. Like, show this movie in theaters. I mean, show this movie in schools. I think it's very important for everyone to join hands and say, you know what, race, it's always going to be around. Different like cultural backgrounds for different races are going to be around, but if we just all get along and we all respect one another and don't judge each other by skin, I mean, come on. Judging each other by the color of the skin is so stupid. That person was naturally born with more pigment in their skin. Hate them. Why? Anyways, long story short, I thought this movie was balanced so well. Ava DuVernay, for me, was the star of this. I can't wait to see what she does next. Yeah, I love this movie.
Her and Jennifer Kent are two directors to look out for.
Yeah, the ladies. Good job, ladies. And Michelle McLaren is making them jump from television to movies with Wonder Woman. I'm actually now excited for the Wonder Woman movie. Uh, yeah, so for a long time it was just Catherine Bigelow, but no, we got Michelle McLaren who did like the best episodes of Breaking Bad, and then we got Jennifer Kent with the Babadook, and now we have Ava DuVernay. I cannot wait to see what those three ladies do next. So yeah, Selma. And then one thing I gotta say about Ava DuVernay, I'm gonna just like, oh, I keep praising her, but there are some sequences, like especially the scene at the bridge, which is like the pinch of the movie, like the part like in the closest to the center of the movie, during like when it's the big thing where they get stopped at the bridge and then the police just start brutalizing them. Oh my goodness, like it shocked me, but it wasn't just shock tactic. It's powerful and it just shocked you. Like, oh my goodness, whoa! Like it's my eyes were open and my jaw was dropped. It was powerful filmmaking, and there are some shots, especially the way she uses symmetry, like especially in that scene, like as they were building up to it, it looked like a Wes Anderson movie. Like the cinematography, it didn't like feel like a quirky Wes Anderson movie, but the shot composition really reminded me of Wes Anderson. And if you're reminding me of Wes Anderson, you're doing a great job. So yeah, and then like the use of violence in this movie, it wasn't just there to shock you and make you go, look how edgy this. No, it
It's
hits
kind
you.
sad, harsh.
It's powerful. This is a powerful, powerful, powerful movie. Go watch Selma immediately. Don't watch Take 3. Go watch Selma. I mean, go watch Selma. It's excellent. I love this movie.
Yeah. The thing about it is, it even has a. I saw that it on Rotten Tomatoes it went up to 99%.
Good.
Everyone's loving this movie.
And I love this. Go watch it, please. That's really all I have to say about it, though.
All right. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it myself.
All right. So moving on over, let's just do one last thing. Oscar nominations. You know what? I'm gonna make a whole nother video talking about why the Lego Movie wasn't nominated for Best Animated Feature, because that is stupid. Big Hero 6, represented by the Academy as one of the 5 best animated pictures of the year. Lego Movie, no. You have to be brain dead to think that. Like,
You'd have to be bribed.
yeah. So like when I found out about this, my Facebook post was, "They were bribed." So, anyways, let's just get that out of the way. I'm not going to talk about animated feature right here, but anyways, how do you feel about the Academy Award nomination, Spencer, for best?
I overall I think it's a good year. There's some safe picks, some kind of boring picks, but like I think Jake Gyllenhaal not getting nominated is dumb. I personally am not throwing a fit over it like a lot of people are, but I just think that I have not seen American Sniper myself, but having seen Nightcrawler and there's just universal praise about what Gyllenhaal does there, and then Bradley Cooper being nominated for American Sniper, which is it's not a lot of people are talking about. I just find that strange myself. Because I am glad though that Nightcrawler did in fact it got nominated for best screenplay, which at first I went, that's odd, but then when I thought about it, the dialogue, the organization of it, I think what, that would actually be a lot of fun to read. I want to read that screenplay now. Also, with the best picture, everyone's saying it's odd that they're having 8 slots and not 10, as it's often is. But for the Best Picture nominees, I'm so happy Whiplash is nominated. You have no idea.
I'm so happy he got nominated for screenplay.
Yes.
So happy.
You got someone who wrote some of the best insults in any movie and best monologues in any movie, and then you have an incredible actor delivering it as best as it could have been. I am
And
so
the questions it raises is so fascinating. Not just about how far will you go to be an artist, but what you will do intentionally to your personal life in order to achieve greatness. And that great like dichotomy of, do you want to be remembered by your friends, but for as long as you're alive, for them to carry on your memory, or do you want to be immortalized by your body of work, but not be like there's stuff like that is so good. I'm so happy it got nominated. Yeah.
yeah. It's Whiplash is a triumph. I love that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at there, so because I could go on and on about this movie. Birdman, I think it's getting. I figured that would kind of be like the critical darling of the Academy. Uh,
I don't know, man. American Sniper really came out of nowhere. I'm seeing that later tonight.
oh,
So
yeah, but I'm just saying, but just seeing it got 9 nominations, which is tied for Grand Budapest Hotel, which I'm glad that the Academy remembered. That's just like, yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, like that movie's absolutely wonderful. It's funny. It's charming. It's an innocent movie for adults.
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean it's profane at sometimes. There's violence sometimes, but there's something whimsical and heartwarming about it somehow.
And just uplifting about it.
I know. So and so's been murdered, and you think I did it. It's so funny. It's so great. 9 nominations. Holy cow! Wes Anderson first director nomination. Good for him.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I'm really so happy about Boyhood. I knew it was gonna get a Best Picture nomination. I hope it wins. I know, like, for the Dark Horse thing, I really, really can't. I know a part of me just really wants Whiplash to win because, like, I think it does have an outside shot of winning. But Boyhood and Birdman are kind of the leads. I'd really like Boyhood and Whiplash to beat Birdman, but regardless, I think it's stupid Nightcrawler wasn't nominated. Um, but I am happy that Imitation Game's on here. For lead actor, which I think was like this was a stacked year, and
Oh my gosh.
they chose like the worst. Like this is the worst possible outcome they could have,
I
want.
know.
First off, Steve Carell was a supporting actor. It's a story about the Schultz brothers, and he got nominated. He is like the antagonist, and he is. Yeah, he has a heavy presence in the film, but he is a supporting actor.
It would be as if it was like if the Joker from The Dark Knight was nominated, if Heath Ledger was nominated for Best Lead Actor.
Exactly, and yeah, so Steve Carell. I didn't see. I'm seeing American Sniper later tonight, but Bradley Cooper got nominated. Okay, Jake Gyllenhaal. Anyone?
Yeah. You mean Bradley Cooper better knock your socks off tonight?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch it tonight, and I'm not gonna go and saying, okay, he better be better than Jake. I'm just gonna watch it and see how it is. But David Oyelowo not nominated. I mean, what? What?
Ava DuVernay not nominated?
Oh my gosh, I am peed at. Oh,
Okay.
I'm pissed
Okay, well,
about it.
here's the thing about that is yes, he isn't nominated, but I forget who his name, but the director of The Imitation Game is nominated for Best Director.
I'm gonna go in there. That's what I'm mad about. So I'm gonna
Okay,
I'm
before
looking
we
at Best Director really fast.
okay, well, just a heads up, like Imitation Game, wonderful movie, very very good. It's also it's another great powerful biopic, but like at times it does look kind of like the special effects in that movie aren't the best. I'm kind of ever joking like, oh hey, what if it's nominated for best special effects? But I think that at times it looks kind of modern day, trying to be old school,
Yeah.
especially. And I think that the special effects don't help that. And of course, it wasn't a big budget movie, and I'm not going to knock it down for saying, oh, the special effects weren't top notch, and that took me out of the experience of the time period. But I just think as a whole, it felt like people saying, it felt a little BBC-ish, and I can see where they come from. But like,
As far as Imitation Game goes, what made that movie really work was the writing, and I'm really glad that got a Best Screenplay nod. I'm so happy about that. And I'm really happy that and the performances really carried that movie, but not the directing. So you have Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu for Birdman, good. You have Richard Linklater, good. You have Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher, okay. You have Wes Anderson, good. And then you have Morton Tildum for Imitation Game. No. You know you should have put in there? Ava DuVernay. You know who else you should have put in there? David Fincher or Christopher Nolan. Because whatever you have to say about Interstellar, it was a better directed movie than Imitation Game. It was a better directed movie than Foxcatcher. Yes, Bennett Miller got excellent performances, but outside of that, there were some directorial decisions that I don't think really worked for that movie, especially the choice of deciding to have as little music as possible. But that's just me.
Or having the last 20 minutes go on and on and
Yeah.
on.
Well, he's working off of an actual. They actually had to like take the time frame of that movie and like cut it. Like actually, like in real life, they cut like the time frame of that movie.
I know that I'm gonna, but for me, as the person viewing the movie, I have the right to say, "Oh, I didn't like this part." So
Yeah, you do. You do.
yeah, so yeah, the nominations this year. I'm so glad. So I like the writing. I'm very content with the writing nominations, except for I think wasn't Foxcatcher nominated for best
Oh
writing?
yeah, best original screenplay.
All right. Overall, I'm happy with the picks this year. I think Foxcatcher is getting a little too much love because I just think that it had a lot of good ideas, but it's in its presentation it lost a lot of its oomph.
Also, Rosamund Pike.
Yes.
If she loses to Julianne Moore from For Your Consideration, the movie, I'm gonna be mad. Gonna be mad. Rosamund Pike. She needs to win. She's the only nomination for Gone Girl. That's sad.
I know. Why didn't? Okay. For for best cinematography, I love the way Gone Girl was shot.
I know.
And I don't have the nominations in front of me, and it's gonna take a little time. We're almost an hour into this uh, to really like explain it, but uh, I think I don't know if it's like as to look at the nominations and say is it like nominee worthy, but I want it to be, you know.
Yeah. So I didn't see Theory of Everything, and naturally, like I'm, when I go see American Sniper tonight, I will have seen 7 of the 8 because I could have sworn Theory of Everything was not going to get nominated for Best Picture, but it was. So I'm gonna go have to go see that probably at a cheap theater. Whatever. So yeah, I guess they did a decent job. Except for whoever the committee is for best animated feature, they should all get fired. So yeah, um, that's all I really have to say about everything.
Yeah, same here.
Alrighty then. So anything else you want to say for this week?
Just summarizing it. We saw Babadook. Rent it, see it. Wonderful movie. Do not give Taken 3 any because it is just a cash grab. Inherent Vice. That's you said. I did not see it, but you
For
said
Inherent Vice, if you are a casual moviegoer, don't see it. You're not going to like it. If you are a fan of like, if you're like a film fan and you really like Paul Thomas Anderson, it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing. You might like it a lot, but I'm just saying it's not great. It's almost good, is how I would describe Inherent Vice.
all right. And then Selma, I think it's very good, and you would say it's great.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say.
All right, and my reactions is pretty much the same. So next week, actually not even next, yeah, sometime next week when we get a lot sooner than this week, but we will be talking about Black Hat, American Sniper, Paddington, and The Wedding Ringer. Spencer, you
All
excited for Black Hat?
right. When I first saw the trailer, I said nope, and then I've been slowly, very slowly, and now I'm kind of like, I think I'll check it out. But then I just hear it's a not good movie, so now I'm back to the beginning where I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we saw Taken 3, so now I'm even less excited because I'm reminded of January.
American Sniper. Are you watching that with us tonight?
I don't believe I am.
Okay. Paddington. Are you excited for that?
Not really.
All
It's,
right. The Wedding Ring. Are you excited for that?
eh, I'll check it out.
All right. And I'm not excited for Black Hat. I'm gonna check out American Sniper. It got a lot of award nominations. I hope it's a good movie. Paddington has a 98%. I hope it pulls a Lego movie and probably it'll get nominated for best animated movie next year, even though there's just an animated bear in it. Um, and The Wedding Ringer. The trailer actually didn't look that bad, and then it has an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, or like a 30%. And all right, when we saw the trailer, I was like, you know what? It looks like it knows what it is. So yeah. See you next time. I'm Connor Nielsen.
And I'm Spencer Nielsen, and we are signing out.